Hello and welcome to another U10 mini lesson where I will attempt to explain, clarify, expand, or bring light to any questions you might have about any drumming topic. Today we're going to talk about marching stick grip. It's the same for bass, snare, and tenor. The only difference is you're going to rotate it differently from the very beginning on bass, so I'll get that in a minute. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use a snare stick because it's going to be the same regardless. That's one of the reasons why we use match here, is because we can transition easily from any instrument to the other. Traditional wise, it also takes about a year to build up the correct chops. So for this one, I'm going to use my right hand first, and then I'll just literally will go over to the left hand in a moment. All you do, so I'm going to use our marching sticks, the normal ones. You're going to take at about where the system blue insignia is. You're going to take your fulcrum, remember your thumb and your forefinger and your pointer finger on the first digit. Alright, you're going to put that through, and it's going to be right about the between the Scott and the circle. Alright, that's going to be your fulcrum right here. It's going to be more on the Scott, but my hand's a little bit bigger than yours as well. The next thing is, in concert, you want to make sure you have all the fingers on just like normal, the pads of the fingers. The difference is you don't want this space down here. This space is bad on the stick. You want to close that up, just like in concert how you have a tunnel that you can, put a stick through right here. Yes, good. You can do this whole thing and yay. You're going to close that up. So there should be no gap right there. And the reason why is because we are going for more articulation and more staccato than a broad buzziness or blend of the sound in concert. We want to hear every single beat of every single drum hit top the 50-yard line no matter where you are. This way, instead of being here for concert, curl your fingers around, and again, it's not going to feel comfortable right away. Your stick should still be all the way down point. It's not going to feel comfortable because your muscles aren't used to it. This way, though, allows for more control for things like rolls and really anything. The next big thing is, don't forget, just like with concert, it's not out here, it's in here. It's literally the exact same way as concert, except you're closing the fingers around it, and you're not doing it in a tight way, you're just doing it so that you have more control. You should never be so tight that, my hand is shaking. I should never be this tight. Realistically speaking, if I were to be playing, just normally, and you were to come up to me and freeze time and take the stick out of my hand, there should be no stopping you. You should easily be able to just fling it out, just grab it out, and kind of like you're drawing a sword, like, right-handed, let's try like that. There should be no hesitation on how gently you're holding the stick. As I say with concert, you're holding it the right way if it feels like it's going to fall out, because it won't. So all we're going to do is we're going to match, that's why it's called match grip, we're going to match on the left hand. So fulcrum, in, and then wrap the fingers around, and then you're almost touching the fat part of your thumb, but you're not necessarily. You want a little bit of a gap there. Let me come closer so I can show you guys. Hopefully that's a better view. Alright, you want that. Now the thing about marching is that we are so very staccato that there's a lot more fingers to it. All of our rolls, and I'll use the other side for a moment. I put it on this side to demonstrate something else, but I'll flip over here. All of our rolls and everything else, rolls are finger controlled. There's never a time where you should pinch the top of here, because this will burn skin off your fingers. I've done it before. It hurts. I couldn't use this part, the fulcrum of my finger, for about 5 days after a 9-hour camp. Not a good idea. You want to have that balance, but the main thing is you want to have that control on your fingers. There's a great video, the intro to it is literally a tenor player, and you can very visibly see from the side, his fingers are doing all the work. And by the way, that's the thing all tenor players should be able to do. We'll talk about that in a minute. But it's not all fingers, it's most fingers low. because we also have such a dynamic range in heights from 3 to 15 vertical here, fingers are going to come into play more, your arm's going to come into play more, everything's going to come into play more. That's not a pun intended, by the way, that's just the best way to say it. The best way to think about this is you have the following heights. You have 3, which is horizontal, which is literally horizontal, parallel to the ground, horizontal. You've got all the way up, which is 15 plus arm if you want to. So this is the max height, this is the minimum height. Between there, you've got 9, and that's about 45-degree angles. Generally, the way this works for this kind of thing is anything between 9 and 3, you've got, between 9 and 3, you're going to have it again. So we've gone 3, 15, and 9 is in the middle. Between 3 and 9, you've got 6. Generally, what you want is you want 3 and 6 to be back of hand fingers. Again, a lot of you guys try to play it like this or like this. You want the fingers on the stick because this is more, that's all this. I could take my fulcrum, I mean, I shouldn't, but I can take the middle finger off and it's all back fingers. At about 9, you want to switch to use the entire hand. I'm still using the backs of fingers. And at about 12, it's more power from the front. It's more of this. And at 15, it's all fulcrum. You still want your back fingers on there because you still want that power. That there's still a lot of oomph and power and kind of like, I don't want to say revving, but there's a good flick of power from the back of the hand. The other thing that people get really confused about with marching grip is that it's not this. The way it was described to me was natural feel with the arm, and it takes a while to get down. But the best way to think about it is lift it at about 9 and about higher. A little bit of arm can creep in. So if I'm here, at about 9, I can bring a little bit in. So realistically, your 15 inches, which is your vertical, should have a little bit of arm in it. Alright, now the arm is the last thing to move going up and the first thing to move going down. The last thing you want to hit the drum is that wrist and that finger flick. Now if you'll notice, I'll bring it in a little bit, a lot of it is finger flick. And all of my fingers are on the stick right now. You can see that from there. All of my fingers are on the stick. And by the way, if you have one of those spray bottles, like Windex, or as long as it's not one of those point your finger spray bottles like Lysol, if you have a single spray canister kind of thing, this is a great way to build up your marching muscles, is because all it is literally, that's all it is. That's all you're doing, is you're just spraying a bottle really fast. So again, 3, the way what we want to try to approach it from this way is, this is 3, this is 15 with a little bit of arm. This is 9, which is halfway in between. This is 6. Alright, so lower half is, this is playing position, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15 plus arm. At this point we can also come up here and do this kind of thing up here. We'll worry about that later. That's really a, like, 7F Forte Gok man shot, and those are going to be like you're using the entire stick just to hit the rim as hard as you can, and that's kind of just like a power last note kind of thing. Most DCI style for the very end of the shows will do that. We're not going to really focus on that. The only other thing really is hit the drum. A lot of people when they're playing, especially at middle school and high school level, if they're not used to it, you get kind of scared of the drum. The rebound is, it kind of flings back at you, and you got to use the rebound to your advantage instead of waiting for it to come. Oh, there's a rebound. It's you gotta take the rebound yourself. It's kind of like, the best way I could think about this is waiting until the last minute to do an assignment, or waiting until after the teacher says, hey, by the way, your assignment's due today, and then going like, oh, and then filling out the assignment and handing in. If you work on the assignment beforehand, you're preparing for it, and you got to kind of prepare for that, and it's almost like an upstroke. It's a full and an upstroke at the same time. because you want to get the power in, but you also want to get ready for the next one. And the way, one of the best examples this was used with me was, if I could build a drum based off how you hit the drum, a lot of people would have a 2-inch deep drum. The drums we use are 12 inches or a foot deep. So we have to get our sound from the top of the head all the way to the snare guts at the bottom. You have to hit the drum hard. Now you have to hit it rhythmically, and you can't slow down, but you have to hit it hard. You have to be, that's why we're saying be aggressive with it. Be confident, absolute, intense aggression. Because you have to get that sound to hit. Otherwise, it's kind of just like, now on a concert snare, you'll hear that no matter what. On a marching snare, if you play this, you won't even hear that, you'll barely hear that halfway to the sideline. You might not even hear it yourself playing. You gotta get, the other thing is, you can play at 6 inches, and I can play at 6 inches, and my power usage, because I am hitting into the drum, you will not break these heads, at least on snares. You won't. Tenors, you might dent them a little bit, but if you play it the right way, with the power I'm asking you to play, you will not hurt the drum. The only way you can really hurt these drums is if you drop them, or if you, purposely stab the drum. These are Kevlar heads. The same kind of Kevlar material that they put in vests for bulletproof vests are woven into these things. So you will not break this drum head unless you are purposely taking a stick and drilling it as hard as you can. Even then, it might take a few times. You will be fine as long as you're rhythmically doing it correctly. So, don't be like, oh, I have to, oh my God, my arm. As long as you keep doing it the right way. If you need to slow down and go, that's fine. Just build it up slowly over time. That's great. I want the power there. We don't want the really awkward, I have power but awkward speed. We want the power with the speed. And generally the speed takes time. Just like with anything else. For traditional grip, there's 2 ways you can think about it. There's what's called the power grip, and there's what's called the speed grip. And the thing is, you can get speed from the power grip. You just have to work the power grip hard enough and long enough. And eventually, the power grip will become faster than the speed grip. Yes, that's literally, that's the difference between one of the grips. There's, as of right now that I know of, there's 4 different kinds of traditional grips. This is one, this is one. And then you've also got, there's one corps that marches with their pinky tucked under their ring finger for whatever reason. So, again, literally the same as concert, except we're going to close up the gap, move the fingers underneath, and you've still got this all the way down to the elbow. There's more arm in it, there's more height, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, use your fingers, you use your arm a little bit, be aggressive with this kind of thing. It's a finger power flick, it's wrist, it's arm, it's a lot of things, but make sure you're doing it the right way, make sure you're keeping tempo. If you have questions about this or want me to take a look at it, send me a video, send me a picture. This is one of those things where it's really good to not guess, and it's really good to say, hey, am I doing this right? And I can let you know from there. If you have any more questions, please let me know. To quote the man who makes our sticks, Scott Johnson, if you're not having fun doing it wrong, and I'll see you next time.